Honorable Founder President Sir, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, Honorable Chancellor Sir, Dr. Atul Chauhan, Honorable VC Ma'am, Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, respected Professor Dr. Chandradeep Tandon Sir, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean Faculty of Biosciences and Biotechnology, our esteemed guests, Dr. Sebastien Foucaud, Director in Data Science and AI at SBSF Consultancy, and Dr. Shravani Basu, Managing Director, SBSF Agritech, Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh, India. Respected Professor V. Pooja, Director AIB. Respected Professor Deepak Ganjawala, Sir, Center Head for Center for Plant and Environmental Biotechnology. Respected Professor Sushmita Shukla, Ma'am, Professor at AIB. Faculty members and dear students, to a guest lecture on Advancing Agroecological Intelligence, Data-Driven Insights for Crop Sustainability and Crop Assessment. I request all of you to please put a huge round of applause for our esteemed guests. May I now request Dr. Ganjawala sir to please come on stage and present his welcome address.
A very warm good morning and welcome to all of you, distinguished guests and my esteemed faculty colleagues and very dear students. I welcome you to this very special session, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our guest for this very special session. We are truly honored by the presence of the esteemed guest today, and we are excited to have you share your valuable and fruitful time with us. I, Dr. Deepak Ganjewala, Head Center for Plant and Environmental Biotechnology Center, extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to our distinguished guest, Dr. Shravani Basu and Dr. Sebastien. We are privileged to have you among us today, and we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to extend your kind support. Now, it's my humble duty to introduce you with the guest of today. We have among us Dr. Shravani Basu, who is a technology-driven business leader having 20 years of vast international experience in agri-tech, pharma and sustainability, which is a very timely topics of today's. She is also founder of an AI-powered agriculture venture and director at Cross Sector Strategy Consultancy, and has proven expertise in climate smart agriculture, CRAMS, carbon markets, and global business development, and has experience among various countries, Europe, India, China, and the US. So with this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Shravani Basu once again here. And we have also with us today very esteemed Dr. Sebastien Foucaud, who is Executive Data and AI Specialist, and who has 20 years of vast experience in data management, statistical modeling, and product development. And most interestingly, he has very interesting area of his subject, which is astrophysics. And I remember that in our center or in our department, AIB, Dr. Gurumurthy is almost related to the astrophysics. And Dr. Sebastien worked as a professor and data scientist. He has held executive roles in data across global industries for the past decades and have served in many positions as a leader or leading role. And he has leading entire data departments, and he has focused on driving measurable business impact through data and machine learning technologies. So, not going through the all the details of Dr. Sebastian, and it itself indicates that how vast experience he has in his related area. So, with this thing, I once again welcome Dr. Sebastian to this gathering, and with this with this introduction, dear audience, we are now ready to take start our event. Enjoy the next session with the two esteemed guests. Thank you so much.
May I now humbly invite Dr. V. Pooja, Director of AIB, to please come on stage and present her welcome address to our esteemed guests. Special address. And can we have a round of applause for her?
So at the outset, I am extremely thankful. Very good to know that. So we'll just wait for them to finish. Okay. That's okay, don't worry. It happens. Yesterday there was some cloud flare or something, and all the chat GPT and the Twitter and everything broke down, it seems. So so you can never trust the technology. No, we had no doubts about that anyway. So thank you so much, Dr. Basu and Dr. Sebastian, for joining us. It's indeed a pleasure. I hope you're finding the Delhi air breathable. I know. So so we are very sorry for that, because we also go through this time of the year, when there's so much of stubble burning, and then the air becomes really, heavy with all the particles. So it's very difficult for all of us as well. So I can only imagine you must be going through a difficult phase right now. But I can assure you that the air within Amity is very pure and very positive. So I'm sure you would, when you leave Amity, as in when you complete today's event, you would you would be an Amitian. You would remember us, and we would remember you. So I think that's the philosophy we all work on. Once an Amitian, always an Amitian, and anybody who comes into Amity, we consider that person our own. So we hope that this collaboration that has been, fostered by Dr. Sushmit, and we are very thankful. And she has been, coming to me since, I think, 3 4 months now, and she's been telling me continuously that they would be coming here, and we have to get this done. And they're really really brilliant, and I want the students to listen to them. So I think today we are very happy that both of you could come here, and we are very thankful for that. And I'm sure our students who are sitting here, it would be a great value addition to all of you. So I think the guest lecture is on advancing agroecological intelligence. So it's a data-driven insights for crop suitability and carbon assessment. So something which is very, very important in today's scenario with all the climate change and everything that's been happening around the world. And, we have a few countries who are very strong when it comes to, working on carbon sequestration or energy, and we have few countries who feel that it's a hoax. So I'm sure today, whatever you talk about would be of great value to what India's thought process is, and we want to address these issues. And I'll be very happy to tell you that in Amity Institute of Biotechnology, we have faculty members who are working on similar kind of projects, and they have been funded, and they have a great lab. So I'm very sure that this would be a great lecture. So looking forward to the both of you. Thank you so much.
When we nurture the soil, we secure the future. Sustainability grows from every mindful farming decision. Crop sustainability and carbon assessment focus on optimizing agricultural productivity while minimizing environmental impact. By evaluating resource use, soil health, emissions, and carbon sequestration, these approaches guide climate resilient farming practices that enhance yields, reduce ecological footprints, and support long term agricultural sustainability. Data driven insights further are transforming crop sustainability and carbon assessment by integrating field data, remote sensing, and predictive analytics to optimize resource use, quantify carbon footprints, and guide climate smart agriculture. These tools enable informed decisions, improve productivity, and measurable progress towards sustainable low carbon farming systems. In essence, carbon assessment turns invisible processes into measurable insights, enabling precision strategies for sustainable crop systems. However, data driven agriculture transforms fields into knowledge landscapes where sustainability and productivity advance hand in hand. With a very pressing demand on the topic, I would now like to invite our first speaker, Dr. Shravani Basu, and listen more from her on this. Before I invite, let me run through her brief bio sketch. So Dr. Shravani Basu, she's a technology-driven business leader with 20 years of international experience in agri-tech, pharma, and sustainability. She's a founder of an AI-powered agricultural venture and director at a cross-sector strategy consultancy. She has a proven expertise in climate-smart agriculture, grants, carbon markets, and global business development. She also has experience that spans Europe, India, China, and the US. She is currently the managing director at SBSF Agritech Greater Noida and also director at SBSF Consultancy Private Limited. She has served as independent consultant, strategy and growth in Berlin, as business development consultant in Jiangsu GRK Pharmaceutical Group, China. She has also headed the business development at of API Pharmaceuticals at Formosa Laboratories, Taiwan, and she is an executive MBA from Nottingham University, prior to which she did her MSc in horticulture and PhD in plant molecular genetics and biotechnology. So with this bio sketch, may I invite Dr. Basu to please come over and present her address. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for having us here. So I will start with the presentation without, further. So today's topic is we want to talk about advancing agroecological intelligence. And as we go along with the presentation, you will understand what this means, because I will not spend time explaining what is agroecological intelligence at this point, but what it will become clear as we go along, and what data-driven insights can be drawn for crop suitability and carbon assessment. So we have we have a SaaS-based platform, software as a service platform, and we have three different products, which is one is Crop Locator, one is Sync Evaluator, and one is Sync Monitor. So these are the three different products, and they are related to growing suitable crops and trees, and also being able to evaluate their carbon sequestration potential, and also being able to measure and monitor how much carbon is actually being sequestered. So it sits at the integration of agriculture, agroforestry, forestry, and the carbon markets. As I go along, all this will become clear. I mean, I'm sure this is, if someone gave me this presentation and this title, I would be very confused. But I promise you it will become clearer. This is me, and I did a PhD in plant molecular genetics. So I studied biotech as well. But today what we are going to talk about is not really related to biotechnology. It's data science, machine learning, and using vast amounts of data, but not physiological data. What we use is physical data. And again, this will become clear as we go along. I'll let Sebastien introduce himself for a bit.
I will be short because it's been introduced already. So I have a PhD in astrophysics, and I have a PhD in astrophysics. I've built several data centers during my tenure as a professor in astrophysics. So I process really very large amount of data, very, very large amount of data throughout my life. Around 10 years ago, I left academia, moved to the industry, led large teams in machine learning and AI, mostly in e-commerce. Again, I processed a lot of data during this period. So the point here is that I'm not a biologist, I'm not a plant scientist, I'm an astrophysicist, and I tackle the problems like an astrophysicist will do. So I have a completely different venture point than she will have. So sometimes we argue a little bit about it because it keeps reminding you, we're talking about crops here, not stars. But eventually, I think we manage with those combination of skill sets to build something that is quite unique. And we hopefully you will agree with us.
Yes, as we go along, you will see. So yes, it's a very very different intersection. I mean, we sit at very different faculties coming together and building something which is very unique, because I never thought that this would be possible to build a plant model, crop model, without using crop data. So, but it has actually, I'm wrong, and it is possible. So, what is the problem that the world faces today? If you look at the problem, the challenges are land decisions, decision of what to grow, where to grow, what crop to grow, what trees to grow, which variety, which germplasm, how much input to apply, when to irrigate. All these decisions, they are kind of made not with the best insights. It's rather blindly done, you know, and then it's based on we dig out papers, academic papers. You dig out PDFs. You pull out outdated maps. You pull out. You hire consultants to tell you what to do, how to do it, and this is guesswork in a way. And then bring all these information together and then try to predict, try to analyze something. But this is not based on accurate intelligence. There is no software. There is no platform that tells you really what you should be doing, how you should be doing it. There is nothing like that in agriculture, at least, or in, if you take it even in plant, when you're trying to grow crops, plants, trees, whatever there is in the biological domain. And then, of course, there is this lack of intelligence. Then when you bring it along carbon markets, where you want to know how much carbon is being sequestered and all this information, you're going even further into this dark alley, because you don't know what is the carbon sequestration potential. Even if you develop a carbon-based project, is it verifiable? Is it measurable? All these questions come in. So more or less, it's all done blindly. And I want to. This is my favorite example. And this is in 1984, I think, in Rajasthan. The Vasundhara Raje government just decided to grow olives in Rajasthan, because Rajasthan is a semi-arid to arid climate, and they thought that we could, replicate olive farming like we did in Israel, like was done in Israel. So varieties were brought in from Israel, and the trees were grown, and the government provided huge subsidies since 1984, 1986. I think a pilot plant was also set up for extraction of olive oil and all that. And I don't know how many hundreds of crores have been pumped into this project to develop olive farming in Rajasthan, in India, and so that India could also become a player in the global olive oil and olive market. And today, what is the reality of the situation? Today, there is a brand called Jaipur Extra Virgin Olive Oil, which is coming out of these plantation in Rajasthan. And they retail, if you go to buy this brand of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, it retails at 2,400 rupees per liter, versus 1,000 to 1,400 rupees per liter of imported olive oil that comes from Spain or Italy. So the price differential of 1,000 rupees for a homegrown bottle of olive oil tells you that something is not right. Because if it is a domestic product, it has to be way cheaper than the imported product, with all the import bills, the shipping, and all those costs factored in. So what really went wrong? And this is a wonderful use case to demonstrate exactly the point that crop decisions, land intelligence decisions are made blindly, because this is the here on your left-hand side. This is the input data. These are the known locations of olive cultivation, or these are the locations where we know olive trees are currently growing across the world. So this is the input data. And then using various parameters, we have 100 different physical parameters: land, soil, geography, elevation, pH, organic matter content, etc., etc. And Sebastien will dive into the details of all the data sets that we use. This is the output model of crop locator. And what it does is it tells you what are the best locations across the world to grow olives. So the redder the color, that is the best the location is. So you have to use best in the sense, of course, you can grow rice in Dubai if you want. If you want to put in water, if you want to invest in all the inputs, you can grow rice in Dubai. It's not a problem. Crops, that is feasible. But what you want to do is you want to grow a crop or a tree in a place where you need the least amount of inputs. That is the way to sustainability. And the redder the location is, that means it is a highly suitable site. You need the lowest amount of inputs. If it is a marginal area, if it's something in yellow, that means yes, you can grow olives, but you will need intensive management. You will need to irrigate, you will need to cover the soil, mulching during frost, and pesticides, insecticides, fertilizers, all those needs to be added in. And if you look at India, when you zoom in on this map, and if you look at India, Rajasthan is not at all a good site for olive cultivation. So now what is, if you want to grow olives in India, the only site where you can probably is this Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, this region here. No, it's Punjab, Haryana, sorry, not Himachal. Himachal is here. So Punjab, Haryana, this region, this little streak here is the place where you may be able to grow olive in India. But other than that, India is not really suitable for olive cultivation. And as a result, what happened, then we started digging deep to see, of course, if our prediction was correct. And it seems that Rajasthan's olive farming relies on intensive inputs. They even use drip irrigation systems to water the plants to create a mist, because of course olive trees for flowering and fruit setting, they need a certain cold temperature, they need certain amount of mist, humidity in the air. So this is all artificially created, and so far it was supported by the government by subsidies, but these subsidies have now been stopped. And as a result, when the subsidies have stopped, from 1,000 hectare of olive cultivation in 2015, this has dwindled to 282 hectare in 2025. And the production of olives from Rajasthan is 150 tons per year. Whereas compare this with Europe, with Italy or Spain, it's 25,000 tons per year. 25,000 tons versus 150 tons. So this is the result of making land decisions blindly. And hopefully this has proved the point that why we need an intelligence, a global intelligence system. Now the opportunity is huge today, not because of what crops we grow, how much we can save on MSPs and subsidies, or how much we can save on inputs, but because of the carbon markets. Now, because of the carbon markets, land has become a financial asset. If you look what is happening in the US today, Bill Gates is the largest landowner in the US. He is buying up agricultural lands, forest lands, and so is Jeff Bezos, and so are other people in the US, all the multi-billionaires, trillionaires, they're buying up land, because land is going to be the most, most attractive asset class. And what you do with this land is going to kind of decide your future wealth and how this wealth grows. And now, if it's a hoax, if it's good, if it's bad, we don't want to delve into that. Like equity markets, what would you call the equity markets? You could call it a hoax, you could call it a bubble, and yet everyone is invested. So carbon markets could be a hoax, could be a bubble, could be real. It depends how you deal with this. But if you don't invest today, if you don't engage with this market, you might end up losing. India might end up losing. And that is not where we want to go. So what we want to do is build the foundations to enter and engage in this market in a constructive way, so that we get the best out of it. So agriculture, carbon markets, finance, governments, they all need intelligence. They all need a high quality data and high quality output. Um, so this is where the this is where our greatest opportunity is today, and this will also help reduce the risks that are associated with random land use decisions. So why now? Because of course there's a climate risk. Climate change is real. It's happening irrespective of what Trump says. There is food security. Because of climate change, a lot of the supply chains across the world are dwindling or changing. Areas which used to be the prime source of a particular agricultural commodity is no longer the same. So, so the food security problem is there, the climate risk is there, carbon markets are coming into play. All these are making it a huge opportunity and a huge challenge as well. Now, if you want to, just to give you a very brief, many of you may not know what the carbon markets are. So just to give you a very brief overview of what carbon markets are really, there are two types of carbon markets. One is the compliance market, one is the voluntary market. Compliance markets are for those, it's a $1 trillion market. It is the ETS. ETS is the emissions trading system. And EU ETS is the largest compliance market in the world. And all the power companies, if you're a power company, if you're a shipping company, if you are petroleum company, oil, gas, mining, you would fall under the compliance market because you have to, by law, at least in Europe, China, and even now in India, you have to reduce your carbon emissions, you have to reduce your carbon footprint. One way of doing it is to come up with green technology, improve your processes, reduce your emissions, and the other way to do it is tapping into the voluntary market. Voluntary market is where let's say I'm a farmer, I don't have a carbon footprint per se, but I can use my farm or my forest land to generate carbon credits. So he is a power company. I'm a agroforestry developer. He needs carbon credits to reduce his emissions. I can sell carbon credits because the plants I grow in my forest or in my agricultural land can sequester carbon because trees, biological systems, tree species, crop species, plant species, they are the biggest, the most natural and the most powerful sequestration agents which can trap carbon in. So one can buy, the other can sell, and this is how the voluntary market and compliance market works. Now, in voluntary market, which is of interest to us, is there are many different schemes. One is the REDD Plus, which you might have heard, which is reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. Basically, let's say the Amazonias, or if there's a forest land in India, some project developer could come in and say, okay, I want to measure and monitor how much carbon has been sequestered by this forest. I want to convert those sequestration into carbon credits and sell those credits in the market. So this is one way of doing it. Then there is forest management. If you can demonstrate that you have managed your forest resource in a way that has reduced emissions, you can convert those savings into carbon credits. Then there is, of course, agriculture. So let's say you are a rice farmer and you decide, and instead of flooding your rice field with water as a method of irrigation, you decide to water one day, not water the other day. And in this process, you save water and you save energy. This can be converted into carbon credits, alternative wetting and drying. And there are different methodologies that you need to follow. And there are agencies like Vera, like Gold Standard, other international bodies that have set methodologies. It's following that protocol and saying and demonstrating that I have generated carbon savings of, let's say, 5 ton or 10 ton carbon per year. Now, 1 ton of carbon is 1 carbon credit. So you have basically generated 5 carbon credits. And this 5 carbon credits, if you can demonstrate and verify and prove that these are real savings, 1 credit is worth today at least $40 to $50. Tomorrow, by 2030, they are predicting that this number may go up to $200 per credit. So 1 ton of carbon is 1 credit. If you can demonstrate you have made these savings, you can sell these credits into the market where others may want to buy it to offset their carbon emissions. So this is how the whole market works. And we are interested in the nature-based solutions, which are afforestation, reforestation type programs, agriculture, agroforestry. These are the kind of projects we are interested in and which our platform can support. So afforestation, reforestation, this is just a breakdown of the current and future pricing. So basically, this is the amount of share of credits issued or retired, and this is the price. As you can see, afforestation, reforestation projects today have a high price, and so does agroforestry and soil carbon sequestration. So this is how, I will not go into the details of it, but this is how it is. And what is the size of this opportunity? You might want to ask, okay, so how big is this carbon market? How big is the voluntary market that you're talking about? The size of the opportunity, if you mix agriculture and carbon markets, it's $1 trillion market. Agriculture contributes greater than 3.6 trillion to the global GDP. This is the size of agriculture. And carbon market is projected at 1 trillion by 2037. So you mix these two, you are looking at several trillions of dollars. And so just to give a very brief idea, voluntary carbon market, which is the one we would be playing in it's 2024, it was $3 billion. And by 2031, they're predicting 31.8 billion. Compliance market is completely a different story. Compliance market, because all the heavy industries, most polluting industries are in compliance market. And even in India now, there is a compliance market. So this is 1.1 trillion already, closer to $1 trillion today. And then there's climate resilient agriculture, where all the precision farming companies would come in. You know, companies that tell you how much to water, where to spray your pesticides, where to spray your insecticides, all this. These companies are today valued in 2024, 26.3 billion worldwide, and that is expected to grow at 61.5 billion by 2037. Then there are the MRV, which is the monitoring and verification, monitoring, reporting, and verification services. That is where, like, you have a plot of land, you have a forest system, or you have agriculture, but of course it needs to be verified, it needs to be audited, it needs to be, this is satellites, drones, sensor data that is picked from different locations for the verification purposes. And this market is going to be 1.6 billion by 2032. So SPSF Agritech, with our 3 different platforms, we sit at the intersection of several billions of dollars or trillions of dollars of market. And our mission is to turn agriculture, turn land, especially, into an investable climate asset. So it is an intelligence layer that we have built, connecting agriculture and carbon markets. And I will let Sebastien talk about the model, the platform, and the rest of it.
All right, so I'll go fast on that, and then we can jump into the core of how the platform works. But essentially, we are what we call SaaS-based platform, so software as a service. That means that our users subscribe to have access to the tool, and it would provide essentially access to the 3 different products that we mentioned. We're going to describe in a second. So the first one is the crop locator. We're going to spend quite a lot of time today on this, because this is really the agroecological zone intelligence that we mentioned in the title. We have the Sync Evaluator, which is essentially a tool that enables the prediction of carbon sequestration of trees and forests. And it's a non-invasive method. I'll talk a little bit about it. And the last one, the Sync Monitor, is essentially an MRV solution. So monitoring, reporting, and verification, which essentially is the use of drones, satellite images, etc., to monitor the evolution of the crops. So the idea of the platform is to combine those 3 different solutions and to make it accessible to potential customers. So crop locator, essentially, it tells you what to grow where. It combines in one hand information about weather, climate, soil, landscape, so elevations. It's a very, very large amount of data that is processed together. On the other hand, we have this proprietary database of plants containing 300,000 different species that's been highly curated and still constantly curated. And essentially, that's what she showed earlier on with the olive. So what the model does is that it's combining agroecological zones coming from this input on the climate and soil side with the location of crops and be able to make some prediction. The sync evaluator is using parameters of trees, so both where they grow, environment, but also which species, and actually using the physiological parameters of the trees and make predictions about carbon sequestration by essentially modeling the growth of the tree. And the Sync Monitor, as I mentioned, this is actually a platform that assembles different data from satellite, drones, and sensors to enable the monitoring and evolution of these different fields that are monitored through the Sync Evaluator as well. So these are those three platforms. We are about to release the crop locator, and the other two platforms are still in development. So what is the crop locator? So essentially, it's an AI-based platform, so machine learning-based platform, or unsupervised machine learning-based platform to be exact. It's combining locations, so over 60 million geocoordinates of plants across 300,000 species. These are huge numbers, but as I mentioned, I'm an astrophysicist, I'm not scared of that. And on the location side, we have 200 million locations that is essentially covering the entire Earth. So it's a mapping of the entire Earth with a 9x9 resolution, kilometer square resolution, and we have 2,000 ASEs that are covering this ground. Everything that we have been developing, the pipeline is proprietary, so it's using machine learning similarity engines. Our FloraDB, so the 300,000 species, is curated automatically through large language models. And the three growth prediction models is a forecasting, data science-based forecasting. Everything is in the cloud, so we're using AWS, and it's available through API. And we have been extensively over the past 4 years validating the outcome of this, because she never trusts the outcome of my model. So every time we had to go and check. And this is an example. Just recently we went to Kerala. That allows us to visit India a lot, which is nice. So we went to Kerala just to check because if cacao was really growing there. And this is Dr. Basu, who is one of our advisors in front of a cacao tree in Kerala. So as you see on the map here, of course we didn't have Kerala in the input database that we had. And this is the output prediction from the model. In Kerala comes up as a hotspot. And when you go there, you understand why. That's amazing. So those three products work together, as she mentioned extensively. Essentially, the crop locators help optimizing land use and reducing what we call scope 1 and 3 emissions. So essentially, minimize the amount of inputs that you need to put directly or indirectly. So if you if you use less water, you save water, but you also save on the energy to pump the water up or to basically spread the water on your fields. So these are net cut on the emission in CO2. And the Sync Evaluator will be basically bring models to essentially it's a monitoring, but it's completely abstracted. And the Sync Monitor is ensuring that we can constantly monitor the evolution of those sequestration in real time. So when we talk to people and to investors, usually they always think about other agtech, agriculture technology companies out there. And was it Barrett Agri? Is the big one? That is going in the news now because it's closing down. It was a huge company, Barrett Agri, in the agri-tech that has been quite widely funded and is now basically bankrupt. And we are not playing the same game, not because we are better, but we are just looking at something completely different than them. most of the tech companies nowadays, they look into supporting farmers. And we don't do that directly. What we're interested in to really to provide those tools upstream. So for decision planning, for agribusinesses, large agribusinesses, large cooperatives, farmers, seed companies, etc. We don't address this tool to the farmers first because it's too complex for them to use. It's not meant for that. It's meant for analysts in large corporate, even in the finance sector, that are interested into a better use of land. And of course, it has an impact on the farmers because then if they want to maximize their return, they may want to follow what those large companies and agribusiness wants to do, but it's not directly addressed to the farmers. It's an important point when we talk about this company. So I will jump into the people that are using this platform. So I mentioned we have 4 different areas of focus. The first one is agribusiness. So you can imagine farm data analysts, for instance, also that want to evaluate crop suitability, what to grow, where, when, make planning. R&D and sustainability managers, and particularly in seed companies, and we have a good example how it can be used there. Supply chains also to ensure commodity supply chain. So these are essentially analysts that will be interested into identifying climate-resistant crops and different varieties and plant types that can grow in different zones to optimize it, to optimize their supply chain. Imagine that you're a large company that is sourcing a particular crop globally, let's say vanilla, and you have different farms you're working, provider that you're working globally, but some of them are in danger due to political instability or due to, let's say, reduced yield because of climate change, for instance. So you want to be able to analyze that and identify other locations where you could grow vanilla as well. So essentially, that's the way this platform can be used. Carbon credit market, I think you understood the point. Finance, banking, and insurance, of course, it's risk analytics. So when you do loans or if you want to insure fields, you want to ensure that it's a long-term investment and that will work. So the tools can be used for that. And of course, most importantly, the people in the room. We believe that the crop locator is actually a wonderful tool for scientists and policymakers to do their research, and hopefully you'll be convinced by that. You know us now. We have 2 other people working with us. Blesson is a machine learning engineer that we work with him for 4 years now, and Dr. Basu is our advisor. He's a long-standing agriculturist, almost 40 years of experience in the field. He's a former director of ACAR in Gujarat, and is an encyclopedia about agriculture. So it's really nice to have him on board. Just for you to know, we are currently in the Rising Fund, so we are seeking for partners to help us launching the crop locator, and that's almost exclusively what we are doing recently. Okay, crop locator, and then she will come and go through many use cases. So, technology behind crop locator is actually rather simple. The only hypothesis that we make here is that a crop doesn't care about where it grows globally. It cares about the local parameters. It only grows about the amount of water, the quality of the soil, the amount of light that it receives. That's it, right? And that's the only information that I need. Is that a crop only need to know what are the local information and not where it grows. On the other hand, if you have a plot of land that has exactly the same characteristics in India and in Guatemala, then a crop can equally grow in both sites because conditions locally are exactly the same. So these are the premises of what the crop locator does. And then it's just a big data game. So essentially what we try to do is to gather as much information as possible from many different various sources about environment, climate, weather, soil, landscape, elevation is very important. So we are combining information from 100 different sources that we curate together, that we merge together and stack on the global map, 200 million positions on Earth. That corresponds to square of 9 by 9 square kilometer. Okay, with projection effect, that's not exactly that, but on average, that's it. And for each of those locations, we draw 100 plus biophysical information. So that goes from pH, organic content. We are looking only on the subsoil, not on the topsoil, for obvious reasons. Topsoils can completely change, but the subsoil take decades, while centuries to change. And we also incorporate, obviously, rain, temperature, amount of light that is received per square meter, sorry. So 100 different biophysical information. Once we have all that, we create similarity clusters. So we have an unsupervised model on the back that is using all these 100 plus biophysical parameters for all these 200 million positions and cluster them in 2,000 agroecological zones. So this is the conversion. We plan to go even further, but 2,000, that's pretty a good number. And the map that you see here is actually the distribution of those 2,000 agroecological zones. So it's very difficult to read, but obviously you have 2,000 different colors on it. And if you're able to spot two colors that are exactly the same, that will tell you that the conditions are exactly the same. And again, you don't care if it's Andes or Himalayas. It's just basically the local conditions that matters here. This data is processed, so we constantly ingest more data, and we remake the calculations every month. And of course, we ensure the stability of the model, but there may be some changes because of climate change. Talking about climate change, we also have climate change predictions included in the model, because part of the information that we are incorporating is coming from climate models. So we not only be able to tell you what is the conditions today and the past 50 years, because that's what the data set is about, but also what is going to be in the next 5 years. So we're able also to draw essentially resilience with climate change according to different models that are included in the models. We're not building up the models. We trust climate scientists about it, but essentially we incorporate that into our results. So then, that's pretty simple. The other part of the equation is the crops. So we have 300,000 plant species. Again, it's highly curated. We are using different sources, publicly or privately. So that means that we pay for access to the data and we curate it. So things include like Kew Garden database along with several hundreds of others. We curate all that together. And what is important for us is to get rid of all the outliers. So in the Kew Garden, for instance, there's a lot of information coming from botanical gardens. Great, but these are not the real sites of growth of a particular crop, so we need to get rid of those. And we have different methods in place to remove those outliers, the outliers for us, including nowadays large language models. So we basically mine the web and add more information into the mix. And once we have those two, it's just a question of matching. So essentially, now I have an input data set, so I know where actually avocado grows. That's one of the examples we're going to show you. And then I can essentially look for AAZs that are similar. So this avocado grow in 3 or 5 different AAZs across the globe. And then we can predict from these AAZs where else it can grow. That's as simple as that. I mean, simple to say. And then, that's more or less it about the crop locator. It's surprisingly robust, and Shravani is going to try to prove that to you now.
Yeah. So I think all this talking would only make sense if you see some use cases and examples that proves what we are saying. So there are 2 ways of querying. So it's a SaaS platform. If time permits, later on we can show you the front end of the platform. But there are 2 ways of querying the crop locator platform. Either you use geocoordinates, the latitude and longitude of any place on Earth, basically, because it maps the whole world in a 9 by 9 square kilometer grid. So latitude and longitude, or you can use crops. So most interesting for us are the crop-based queries. So you can use any crop out of the 300,000 plant species that are there in the database. So almost the entire plantae is in this database to query. But we have taken 3 examples: avocado, sugarcane, cotton, and I will take you through them. So if you look at the latitude longitude based query, location to crops. So we were in Stakna. We went to Ladakh to an altitude of 3,315 meters at the Ladakh campus, just to make sure that the predictions were correct even under extreme environments. And this was the coordinate of the Stakna campus in Ladakh that was given to us. And if you look, when you input these coordinates, it tells you where else on planet Earth are conditions that are similar to Stakna in Ladakh. So it maps the entire Mongolian desert, China, and then there are parts of Chile here high up in the mountains that share similar agroecological characteristics as Stakna in Ladakh. And these are the crops that would grow there. Of course, in the summer season, when there is a little bit of rainfall in Ladakh, that's about 300 millimeter rainfall, annual average rainfall that they receive. They are able to grow barley, wheat, wild chickpea, etc., etc. So the list is long. We have just taken a few of those here. We don't demonstrate all. So this is what it does. It's a very powerful tool. It basically maps across the world different locations that would share similar characteristics as that of this geo coordinate that you input. The other way of querying these databases is crop-specific queries. And here we have used the example of avocado because these are the few that we have validated. So the input data contains confirmed growing locations of avocado across the world. These are locations we know and we have curated. They are not in botanical gardens, they are not under controlled environment, but they are the ones where it's growing naturally without any artificial support. Inputs are one thing, fertilizers are one thing, irrigation is one thing, but artificial support in the sense temperature control or humidity control, this is what I mean. So these are the locations on Earth where we know they are naturally growing. And then based on that, this is the heat map, what we call the output of the crop locator, which tells us what are the most suitable locations on Earth where avocado can be cultivated. And the input data, if I may not be able to zoom in here, but as you can see, there is no input data in India for avocado. We don't have in the input database when you give what you give to this model. Despite that, it is predicting that Kerala and parts of Tamil Nadu are the best sites in India to grow avocado commercially. And that's true because India is growing avocado, and most of the avocado that is in the market today comes from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Whereas there are also areas in the lower foothills of Nepal and the entire northeast which would be very suitable for avocado cultivation. But of course, they will require more inputs compared to Kerala and Tamil Nadu because this is in deep red. The redder the site, the less the input requirement. And here, as you can see, this is a avocado growing in Mizoram, and this is a real tree, real picture, validated on the ground. And this is avocado that is growing in Mizoram. It's not the best avocado in terms of commercial quality because, the avocado that is imported in India today are mostly from Tanzania. They are big sized fruits, a lot of flesh, small round seeds. So, but still, it's avocado, and I have been told that when it's a good production, the year where there's a good production, it's 50 rupees per piece. When the years that the production, it's 30 rupees per piece, and years when there's a production is small in Mizoram, it is 50 rupees per piece. 30 to 50 rupees per piece. That's what they sell in Mizoram in local markets, compared to 160 rupees that you can buy in shops in Noida, Greater Noida, which is being imported. So now India has a potential, but are we exploiting that potential? This is for policymakers, for scientists, for others to decide, not us. Our goal is just to provide that intelligence. And then we started digging deep because we cannot grow and validate all the 300,000 species in the database. That would be impossible in this lifetime or even in 10 lifetimes. So what we do extensive germplasm survey, and we try to check through our network and, go on site and check whether actually these trees are growing. and talking to someone in Kerala, we wanted pictures of avocado trees growing there. And this was a picture that was sent to me from Kenichira village, Manthanwadi, Wayanad, Kerala, where this tree is growing, and it seems it has been grown for decades now. And if you look on the map where this site, Manthanwadi, Kenichira villages, if you can see, this is all highlighted in red here. So this is the power of this map. And when, if I go one step back, if you look at the input data, there is no input data on India. And despite that, look at the power of prediction of this model, completely unsupervised machine learning, without any biological data set in it. We know where the crops and trees grow. We have the physical data set of 100 different parameters, but nothing other than that. There is no prompt that we provide to this model. And this is AI and machine learning for you. And going beyond this, okay, once you know where a crop grows, that's it. Why do you want to use this database? But that's not where it stops. Because we can map the world and we can go to a depth of 9 by 9 square kilometer anywhere on Earth. Now look at the power of this model. This is Mizoram. Mizoram, we know and look at the power of agroecological zoning. So we selected the top 5 agroecological zones that are present in Mizoram. We zoomed in on Mizoram. And let's say this is Aizawl here. The avocado tree and the avocado fruits I showed you earlier on are from Aizawl in Mizoram. So this is where Aizawl is, and this is the agroecological zone in Aizawl, and this is another agroecological zone. We took 2 zones to see where else these zones are present across Peru and Mexico, because Peru and Mexico are the largest avocado producers in the world. Now I want to know if these top 5 AZs are also present in Peru. And surprise, surprise, here this is this zone, and this zone here is also the same zone that is here. It's the same AZ. Here, what you see circled in green, and these are the same AZs, and I selected this because it also corresponds with the heat map. That means these are the most suitable, this is a very good quality site for avocado cultivation where it requires the minimum inputs. Now, if you want to improve commercial and produce commercial quality avocados in Mizoram, instead of developing a variety, and developing a tree variety is not the same as developing a crop variety, right? Because a tree will take years to grow, to produce fruits. So if I want to improve the quality of avocado coming out of Mizoram, all I need to do is look for these sites across the world, across AZs, across the world, and select a germplasm from here, a variety, a landrace, a hybrid, whatever is there, and bring it here and grow it here. And hopefully it should, because it's the same climatic conditions, 100 different parameters, which are basically the same. And so this is where the power of the model lies and power of prediction lies. If you're a seed company now, why would you want to spend years of research and development, or hundreds of thousands of dollars into developing a new variety when you can just cross-match and bring in variety? This is the first level. And secondly, here, this AZ here corresponds to this AZ here, corresponds to the heat map. Again, this is one of the best sites in Peru, and this AZ is represented here. So picking up variety from here to grow here is another way of. So there are not there are 2 different varieties that you would need to. In Aizawl you would pick varieties from here. In this area, I don't know what this area is. Sorry, but for this area, if I want to grow commercially the avocado, I would go to this location in Peru and transfer package of practices, transfer germplasm, transfer plant material from one location to another. And that would be the first step. Now, let's say, and if I look at the south of India, and if I look at the top agroecological zones in the south of India, Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, other places, they don't match with Peru. Because, and it's obvious, because Peru is, the climate is very similar to the northeast of India. Whereas if I want to introduce new varieties in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, I would look more at Mexico. And you see, the AZs here are matching to those of Mexico. And if I want to introduce a better variety in Kerala, a better variety in Tamil Nadu, I would look at this tail of Mexico and look at the heat map of Mexico and introduce somewhere from here to here, and not from Peru. But whereas if I want to introduce a new variety in Nepal, or Kathmandu Valley is now called the Avocado Valley because they are trying to grow commercially avocados in Nepal and make it a business there. So this, if Nepal wants to introduce varieties, it would look at Peru. If Kerala wants to introduce new germplasm package of practices, it should look at Mexico around this region, and we can zoom in even more and go to the depth of 9 by 9 square kilometer anywhere on Earth. So this is just a snapshot. Again, another example of land use and resource use, sugarcane. Sugarcane, we know these are the best locations of sugarcane in India, which is Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, parts of Madhya Pradesh, and other places. Whereas if you look at the real production of sugarcane across India, the three top states of sugarcane production are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Bihar is not even in this list, which contributes to sugarcane production. Whereas if you look at the map, Karnataka and Maharashtra are not really the best sites, whereas Bihar and Uttar Pradesh are. But because of the subsidies, because of farmers, the way they want to grow things, because of politics, because of everything else, Karnataka and Maharashtra are given huge subsidies. Sugarcane is a major crop, and a lot of input is used. And if you look at the water use, or if you look at the water productivity of Karnataka versus that of Bihar and UP, it's a dismal record. And if you look at the GHG, greenhouse gas emissions of Maharashtra and Karnataka, it's much higher, much higher than Uttar Pradesh and Bihar because of the sheer amount of inputs that go in. Now, Karnataka, they are growing sugarcane under drip irrigation. Now, for drip irrigation, you have to pump out groundwater. Pumping this water requires energy. Pushing this water through the drips, installation of the drips, it is an expensive business. But again, our job is not to tell farmers what to grow, what not to grow. It's a tool in the hand of decision makers, policy makers, businesses. Do whatever you want with it, but this is the reality of the situation. So states that should be encouraged, should be developed, have not been developed. States that shouldn't be growing a certain crop are somehow growing it because of a lot of other compulsions. Cotton, another very good example. So we looked at cotton as well because the Niti Aayog wanted us to produce some maps of cotton because they want to know what is the potential of different states. And this is the heat map of cotton, and this is the heat map in India, different sites. And what we did is we looked at similar sites. Again, largest cotton producers in the world are China, India, USA, and Brazil. And largest cotton growing regions in India are Maharashtra, Gujarat, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. But again, if you look at the map of Maharashtra is not really the best suitable site for cotton, whereas Tamil Nadu is. And cotton in Maharashtra and Telangana, these are all BT cotton that is grown. Whereas in Tamil Nadu, they grow the Desi cotton, and that requires low inputs and doesn't require so much of management. And that's why farmers there don't commit suicide at the same rate as farmers in Maharashtra would because of crop failure. And China, of course, China is not suitable site for cotton, but yet China is the largest producer in the world because they diverted entire rivers to irrigate cotton in Xinjiang province of China. So it's not natural. River diversion is a technique they use to bring water to Xinjiang to grow cotton. Now, of course, who can argue against it? You can do whatever you want, but it's not the best site on earth. And most natural sites for cotton are in the world are Brazil, Somalia, and in India, if you look, the best sites for cotton cultivation is Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. These are the best sites for cotton production in India. Now, if this is the AZ map of cotton. Now, if I want to look for what are the different AZs of cotton in Gujarat, so these are the different colors that you see are the different agroecological zones. Even Gujarat doesn't have one single agroecological zone. It's many different agroecological zones, and you can see where else on earth the same zone would appear. And so is Telangana, and so is Tamil Nadu. Now, here, for example, in Telangana, the green zone here that you see is similar to that of Somalia in Africa, whereas here, if you look at Tamil Nadu, this pink zone here is similar to that of what is growing in Brazil, and Brazil is one of the largest producers. So you can do zone mapping, AZ mapping, to understand where the other sites are across the world. Now, today, if I want to, Brazil is the fourth largest producer of cotton, and yet 80% of cotton in Brazil is purely rain-fed. It's not irrigated, low input use, naturally growing cotton. Now, if I want to introduce a variety of cotton, from Brazil to somewhere in Tamil Nadu, introduce a better yielding variety, a more climate resilient variety, I should be looking at Brazil and introduce a variety from Brazil into Tamil Nadu here. And that's how germplasms can directly be, transferred from one location to another to meet the needs of these locations. And similarly here, if you look at Africa and Telangana, Somalia is a very good site for cotton production. But of course, Somalia is an untapped potential. Somalia is not the largest producer of cotton in the world. And Somalia shares similar characteristics as Telangana. So now if I'm a seed company in Telangana and I want to develop a global supply chain, I want to build a supply chain outside Telangana to produce more cotton and bring it back to India or export it from Somalia to other parts of the world, from Telangana to other parts of the world, I would go to Somalia and I would transfer or send my elite germplasm from Telangana to Somalia, grow it there, and sell it to the rest of the world. And this is what China is doing today. If you want to really beat China or compete with China, we have to think like China. And what China is doing today, it's producing beef in Argentina. It's producing, other crops in Australia. It's producing crops across Africa. It is developing a global supply chain because China, again, is a big country. But China cannot produce, China has a very limited production season in the sense the winters in China are harsh. Most of the central China, east and northern China are deserts. You cannot grow. The only place where you can actually grow and find something favorable is around the coastline of China. So how does China manage to export and be the largest producer? China has a global footprint. It's a global supply chain, and this is how it does it. And so can India. Why only produce in India when you can produce in Africa, when you can produce in South America, when you can sell? So if I were a seed company, I would just use this map to see where my germplasms, where my varieties would sell and fetch me the maximum returns. And so what Crop Locator does is it really fast-tracks crop innovation. It shortens production cycles and it scales the best practices worldwide. If you want to import a set of practices from some other part of the world, you can just look at the AZ similarity and import those practices rather than trying to develop, spending years of research and development and tons of money. This is what you can just do. So crop innovation at global scale with hyper-local accuracy. That's how we would like to market it. And if you want to release a new varieties, of course, there are many different ways. There's traditional breeding, there's molecular breeding. You can go on doing it, and you spend years in research and development. Then there's multi-location trials, then there's replicated yield trials, then there is identification of the superior genotype, and then there's a release of variety through the national system that takes about 8 years. Whereas here, you can, based on AZ mapping, you may not even have to develop a variety. And even if you have to develop a variety, you might be able to trace and track the most suited location on Earth, take a variety from there, improve that variety, and release it. You can transfer a gene, you can do whatever by biotechnology, by traditional breeding, but you know exactly where to get this germplasm form to transfer the traits, to transfer, the variety, and then do a small replicated trial and you release it. So from 8 years, you bring it down to 4 years. And this is what, Crop Locator can do. And this is just a little bit of the demonstration of the power of this platform. And we are working more to kind of, bring in new features and incorporate more information that we can then provide. And Sebastien will quickly wrap this up by talking about sync evaluator and synchronizer, and then we are done.
So if you allow me a few minutes more, I want to talk about the sync evaluator. Yeah, it's essentially one slide, but a very busy one. So essentially the concept here, again, is to apply machine learning for making prediction. The advantage is that here, from the thanks to the crop locator, we have already the information about geolocation and species, so we can actually cluster information. Same principle like crop locator. I don't need to look at all trees everywhere on Earth. I can start looking at trees per AZs. That would save me a lot of efforts when I want to start to make my predictions. We are working also on new tree classifications. So we realize that the current taxonomy, which is based on flowering mostly, it's not really helpful when you want to start predicting the growth of trees. If you take Acer, you will have the big maple Acer that is in Canada, or the small Japanese one, and these are the same species at the end, yet these are completely different trees, right? So we've been working on that on the side, but the principle here is quite easy. Is that we have a base where we, from the literature that's been creating over the years, of 180 trees in different AZs, for which we have the growth curve for, depending on the tree, 5 to 50 years. So we know from the different research paper, let's say teak has been growing at this rate in this particular location. And we put that into a predictive model, and this way we can, for those 183 species everywhere in the world where these species are covered are present in an AZ, we can predict the diameter at breast height and the height of the trees as a function of age. So essentially, for 180 species of trees, you just give me a location, you give me a species you're interested in among those 180, and I can tell you what is the growth curve with age of this particular tree. And then from that, once you have basically the growth, so you have the height of the tree, you can evaluate how much carbon has been sequestrated. So you make some evaluation of course, the root system, the canopy, etc. So there are different regression models we're using there, and then we can convert what is height to above ground biomass and to total biomass of the tree, and then yet transfer that into tree sequestration. So this is how we are doing it today. We are trying to refine the model. Here, this is probably the place where I won't be able to avoid completely physiology. So we are talking with different researchers to support us on incorporating physiological models to bypass all those approximations that are on the way, so that we can jump from these growth predictions to carbon sequestrations in a more accurate manner. So in this case, we are talking about 3PG, Goltiva, and all the different physiological models for tree growth and sequestration and evolution of the trees. But that's essentially what the Sync Evaluator is doing. So we have a proof of concept. We're developing the product now. It's not yet ready to release, but that's essentially what it does. And here are just a list of different use cases that you can think that that's essentially related to the first topic we talked about a lot, which is carbon sequestration. And now the potential here is interesting because you can start thinking about agroforestry, right? You can grow trees to grow avocados. So you reap the avocados as a fruit, but you also have a tree. So essentially, you can also sell carbon credits. Or if you have paper, paper is the vine that grows around the tree. Or cacao. Cacao is a short plant that grows under a canopy since we have shade. So you can start mix and matching actually the land use by combining essentially traditional agriculture with carbon credit potential. And we think it's the way to go in the future. And if you think about the farmers at the end, that basically provide them another source of revenue, which is actually a bit more stable than agriculture, because a tree tends to stay longer, right? So this is us, and we took a bit longer than we were expecting, but we are very happy to take questions. Thank you very much.
Yes, we can also, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
What is it that it fixed? Is Punjab actually a good place to grow rice?
No, it wouldn't fix Punjab.
No, it's not.
That is what I guessed. I mean, I thought so. So, I mean, this is a big problem that we are facing. We're all facing this pollution because of the paddy, the things that they burn, right? So, that is what came to my mind. If that is possible, I mean, if this kind of suggestion can be given to you, or if you're, I mean, if Niti Aayog listens to what you're saying, I think we could.
No, the madam we met at Niti Aayog told us no. These are farmers' consideration. We cannot do anything about it. So I don't think. So that's why I mean, we are very apolitical in the sense that this is a tool, an intelligence layer. You do whatever you want with it. Our job just is to deliver this in your hands. And, and the sugarcane example, what you saw, I just similar to rice, right?
Right.
Sugarcane shouldn't be growing in Karnataka and not with the kind of MSP support that is provided.
It is the MSP, yes.
And the cotton, Maharashtra farmers shouldn't be growing cotton. And they're growing BT cotton, they're growing high, using a lot of inputs, and this is what is bringing those farmers to debt and debt to suicide and all these things. So,
yeah, one more thing I wanted to ask. See, when varieties are brought from another country, see, the whole thing about ICR developing new varieties and breeding started because when they're getting new varieties from some other place, they are not growing at the same rate. They're not yielding the kind of fruit that they were yielding in some other country. And that was the reason why, the ICR developed, started getting more and more better varieties through various techniques. So, I think we need a study which is on the ground, which proves that when you're talking about the germplasm and getting that variety from somewhere else in the world, getting it to, for example, India and growing it in India and seeing, because it is just not the germplasm. I think there are a lot of other reasons which control what a particular crop is going to yield, how good the yield is going to be. There are other parameters also which may lead, pests, for example, one, right? So, what is your take on that? I mean, how?
I showed you a slide, right? Mizoram. If you go back to the slide of Mizoram, what I just showed you here. So, if I were to bring up germplasm for Aizol, I would look at this region in Peru, right? This green region here. If I were to bring a germplasm for just a few 100 kilometers away from Aizol, this region, I would go to this region in Peru, in southern Peru, and not at northern Peru. Now, what they did with olives, they bought germplasm from Israel and they planted it. There was no mapping. They just bought germplasm. Of course, those germplasm didn't yield anything, and there was no map available. But if you're going to go at this level of granularity, where you go to 9 by 9 square kilometer, even within a small state like Aizol, you see there are not one agroecological zone. We took only the top 5 agroecological zones here. And if you see in the north here, it's a different zone, this is a different zone, this is a different zone, this is a different zone. So you match zone by zone and not just take any random variety from Peru. I'm not talking about Peru as a whole. I'm not telling you to go to, let's say, northern Peru and bring a variety for, south of Mizoram. Here, this is the level of granularity. You're bringing in germplasm from one place to another, which has exactly the same agroecological condition. It's the same agroecological zone. It doesn't matter whether it's Peru or India. Crop doesn't care. But even within the same, you see many different zones. And same with here. I mean, again, if you want to introduce a variety in Kerala, you don't want to bring again from Peru. You can go and zoom in, and I cannot show you live here, but you can actually zoom into the dot, which is a grid of 9 by 9 square kilometers. And that is the thing.
It looks quite promising, yes.
You don't get completely rid of the trials. Obviously, you need
to do a small trial, 6 months.
But the idea is to really shorten it and not start from scratch. The other thing that probably is always underestimated is the package of practices. The fact that farmers are growing in Brazil cotton for a few hundred years, they have developed practices that we may not have adapted here. And then that's also another opportunity that sometimes is missed. There's a lot of knowledge sharing that can happen similarly. I think that's something that is always underlooked.
I have one question. Thanks for your nice deliberation. And regarding your crop locator, so many whatever parameters you have taken, I have seen. but I think I am missing there the association of microbes also, because as we are discussing about the carbon sequestration, role of microbes are also there in the soil. Okay, and the most of the parameters you have taken, like in the environment, the climate, and the condition of soil, the conditions and the parameters, those are related to trees, crops, but microbes, they are missing there, and I think you should look upon that also, because this is a model, right? Yeah. So this is a model. This is a kind of prediction. So whatever prediction you have done here, because generally we are working in lab. So suppose we are doing pot experiments. Sometimes the pot experiment that is going to fail when we are going to inoculate the things in the field. So there is the carbon sequestration regarding microbes also, and some more parameters we have to take. But the thing is that how this business model we can convey to the farmers. Those are the laymen, right? So
That's not our goal. Let's to be
We
clear.
are not going to
We are
go to the
not.
farmers.
We don't want to go
so
to the farmers.
yeah, but ultimately we have to go to farmers.
No, it's not
No?
our job.
We don't.
So you are contacting to government directly?
No, not even government. This is a tool. I will give me 1 minute. No, just log on to the website.
Because we discussed about the carbon credits and they can earn, and you talked about the revenue generation.
The farmers cannot do it themselves. There
Yes.
has to be like an FPO, FCC, or there has to be a government, a body involved that will bring together the farmer. In India and in Asia, the average land holding is less than 1 hectare.
Yeah.
They are not big enough to go into the carbon credit market by themselves. They have to be brought together in a big group.
Yeah, that's why I'm
And
asking.
this tool is for those corporates, governments, if they're interested, or agribusinesses.
KVK, you can approach KVK also, Krishi Vikas Kendra, yeah, I think. Government, you through that
No, this is
directly
very
is
nice
not required
initiative.
to
This
interact with
AI-based
the
initiative,
farmers.
this
I
is
think
good,
it's
but
not possible.
But the bottom line here is that we believe that if there's an opportunity for agribusiness, let's say that you know, let's say that you have a large agribusiness that is interested to grow something else than rice in Punjab because it's a perfect location to grow out of what they're interested in. And then they can approach the farmers and say, like, look, instead of getting that much rupee per hectare growing rice, we propose you to grow this alternative crop at this price. They would jump, right? The farmers are just following the money at it, right? They're not taking decisions. I think that's a misconception. Farmers are not taking the decision at the end what they grow. They just follow what the market is telling them. Is it MSP subsidies? MSP subsidies, this is the market, essentially. It's a pacified market by the government, but this is the market. And I think at the end, the changes will always grow by the demand. If we stop all of us buying rice from Punjab, they will stop producing it, right? So I think that's for me. That we never wanted to address the farmers, and that's always a misconception. That we started the warning at the start. The farmers are not the people who are going to use our tool. These are maybe very large corporate farmers.
But
right?
this is a nice initiative.
SCPs, etc.
Yeah.
But they need to have the understanding. The tool is complex. It's an analytical tool, right? It's dashboard. You can dive. You can. So you have screenshots.
Yeah, there's screenshots here.
Oh, you okay? Right. So this is basically the different parts we showed you from the screenshot of the tool. But so this is the type of thing that you will get in our tool, right? So what we can do is we can do easy comparisons, provide all the information about rain, about soil, so all the data that we have, we surface it for the analysts, right? That they understand, because of course, as an analyst, being a data scientist myself, you want to understand why the decision is taken, right? So this is a complex tool to use, right? At the end, this is addressed to analysts, people that understand what they're doing.
You have
can compare locations, you can compare ACs, you can.
You have the climate change model also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not in the current version.
But not for the mitigation, I think. but not for the mitigation, climate change mitigation.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
That's not the only information that we get from the climate models is what is the evolution of different parameters, so climate parameters over the next 5 years, and we basically incorporate that into our model.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for very enlightening lecture on a very important topic. I think this kind of tools is going to be revolutionary. Why I'm saying this? Because in the crop management or in the field of plant science, a lot of research program is under progress, whose aim is only to develop the abiotic stress resistant crops. And I think a lot of money is being funded for this kind of project. So this tool, how it is going to take this problem of abiotic stress management in the plants, and whether it is complementing the abiotic stress management programs. Also, in India and across the world, there are many lands which is infertile in terms of nothing is growing on that part of the land. So, with this map, could you be able to identify some plant species which can be grown in those areas, which could in long run become the livelihood for the farmers of that particular region?
So what's interesting is that accent, because when you go there, land there, it's essentially there's nothing growing. And of course, talking with the researcher there, there's quite a lot of things that grow limited because of the conditions. But when we start showing them the list that we were predicting, we didn't know. So they were all saying, oh yes, these are things that we're working on ourselves to improve the yield of this particular crop. These are things that we have grown here, etc., etc. So definitely.
Yeah, because the global supply chain aspect of your tool is also very, very interesting actually, because in India also there are many land where we are not growing anything or which is infertile. So that land can be given to the on lease to some other people, and they can grow their crop there in that particular area. And in that way, global supply chain can be, I think, very much promoted. Yeah.
Like for example, in Ladakh, in those extreme climates, they have a crop called hawthorn. It's this orange color fruit that
Yeah.
is used in tea and other things.
Yes.
Medicinal plant. But the problem with India also in China, it is being produced and they use it used in medicines and tea and all these things. The problem in India is also the value addition, the development of products. This strategy is completely lacking. We produce crops, but we don't have a value addition.
Yes.
We don't have any storage. We don't have any processing. You produce, it ends there. In China, they dry everything, even from this raw meat. The goat.
Yeah,
they even dry the goat, and they use it as a meat in crops, in their cooking.
Yeah.
But in India, if you have overproduction, you just throw it.
Yeah. So harnessing maximum possible benefit out of the things, that is, I think, we have to learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, what it does is basically will tell you across the world. So if you give a latitude and longitude, which is in an extreme environment where there's a desert, where nothing grows or very little grows, it will give you other locations across the world where something is growing.
Yes.
And you can see the sequence of distribution, and you can know that, okay, in this location in the world, which has exactly the same agroecological condition as our location, they are growing this and that, and you can decide to grow those crops too. Now, what you do with those harvests, what you do with those crops, is of course very country dependent, culture dependent, food dependent, and this is what we cannot influence.
Yeah, because another very important thing that highly vulnerable crops or the plants, endangered species, and there are many other plant species which are on the verge of extinction almost. So these kind of crops or this kind of plant species which is going to be extinct in coming years, Could that be possible with this tool to protect them or to conserve them by growing them into some other areas which is having the similar kind of climatic condition and the soil condition? Yeah.
Because there are 300,000 species in this database. 300,000 is the entire plant database. You have it here.
Yes.
You just need to type it in and see what you get.
Yes.
Who wanted to grow some gross salinity area. So I wish that I could have met you before so that I could have added those
Yes. Okay. Just I would like my students to ask some questions because I think they are the most important. Yes. Yeah. Only two questions we can take from the students because I think they are the most important. What you can say, or among the audience who will take this knowledge further. Any student?
Thank you, sir. Sir, my question is, who regulates these carbon currencies and in what format they are?
So there are many stakeholders or players in this market. There are carbon rating agencies, just like credit rating agencies. If you look at the financial, because it's a financial asset, carbon credits are financial assets traded. Bought and sold on stock exchanges, and yeah, hi. They're bought and sold in stock exchanges across the world. So there will be regulators. Thank you. There will be regulators. There will be. So then there are like. First thing is your farm. Let's say you have a patch of land, a plot of land where you want to grow some trees or crops and you want to harvest the credits. So first thing is for you to find a consultant or people who are active in these areas to guide you on what methodology you should follow, unless you can do it yourself. So you would look at Vera, VERRA, Vera. Vera is the auditing agency and they also set the methodologies. So then you have to look under which methodology what you plan to do would fit in. And then you would follow this methodology like a protocol. It takes about 3 years from the day you start to inspection, certification, and the kind of release of these credits. So Vera will certify, and then there are many other platforms that will kind of help you sell these carbon credits. So once Vera says, okay, well, you from your plot of land, you can generate 20 carbon credits annually. Then these companies which are out there, these intermediaries, brokers, they will say, okay, your carbon credits are now listed under this stock exchange at this price. And then there is the primary market where it's being listed, and then once it's bought by someone, it could be sold in the secondary market, and price is the limit. It's just like equities. Everything
It's
from
like
that
stocks.
point. Yeah, it's just like stocks. And that's why they are saying it could be a big hoax. Because, and billions of dollars of credit had to be written off because they were generated from the Amazon forest under REDD Plus program, which is because the thing is, those trees in the Amazon or in Java in Indonesia, they were growing there for a long time. No one knows the age of these trees. No one knows their carbon sequestration potential or how much carbon is actually stored in their tree, in the roots, in the soil. No one knows that. There's no data. But once you start developing a project, that's why afforestation, reforestation projects are the best projects because you have a start point and from that you can track. And these projects will fetch you the premium prices because there's tracking, there's data to prove that actually this is the species that is growing, this is the sequestration at XYZ age. And trees cannot sequester forever. There will be a plateau at some point. It's a biological system. So, up to 30 years, maybe a peak for some tree, and after that, the sequestration remains stable or it drops. And at that point, you can cut down those trees according to the methodology and plant new trees. So this is how it goes on. And for existing forests, we don't have this data. And that's why billions of dollars had to be written off. And this is where the hoax part is coming from. But if you were doing afforestation, reforestation, if you were doing an agricultural project, reducing emissions by less watering or, by using less inputs, and if you can claim it with evidence, then this is a more sustainable way of going into the carbon markets, and you will get actually premium prices. So it's point-based system. It's entirely a point-based system.
So, ma'am, it's the same for trees and grass also.
Yes, yes. Any crop, any biological system from which you can show, even soil, that carbon has been harvested from the environment and has been sequestered, has been stored. So CO2 has been stored, sequestered, and stored is a carbon project.
Thank you, ma'am.
So that's how it goes. Okay. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Very interesting topic. So you are asking about the carbon dioxide sequestration, but using a tool, you are just telling which crop and which location is perfect so that that plant can grow more, and according to the biomass, you can calculate the carbon dioxide sequestration. So this is the concept of this presentation. So my question is, if the plant is already fixed, means if you are targeting Uttar Pradesh, then you are targeting sugarcane. The plant is fixed, place is already optimized. Then after that, how we can improve the carbon dioxide sequestration using that plant and using that location? What are the methods the farmer can follow to sequester more carbon dioxide using that place and that location, that plant?
Okay. So you gave the example of Uttar Pradesh. Now, let's say sugarcane is a dominant crop in Karnataka, in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, in other parts. Now, let's say Karnataka. So you can always calculate a baseline. That's the first thing you have to do. What is going in, what is coming out, right? So going in the sense, how much irrigation you're applying, how much inputs you're applying, how much fertilizers, how much pesticides, how much insecticides. This will be the baseline calculation. Once the baseline has been calculated, then you can look for areas of improvement. Now, if you were growing sugarcane in Karnataka, the baseline is already this high because you have to irrigate it. It's 70-80% of the crop is irrigated either by furrow system.
I understand that concept.
So then
place must be suitable for that plant.
Exactly.
Means location and plant, that germplasm, that is fixed. After that, how we can improve the sequestration? Any suitable method to improve sequestration rate?
I think then diversification is probably the route you want to take. So when you have a plot of land, how do you want to maximize the use of your land, right? Part of it's exactly like when you're investing somewhere. Part of it should be done with crops because you have a direct return or regular return when you sell the crops. It's a high risk. Another part could be just planting trees because then you get another source of return, right? The same goes with carbon credit. So if you want to balance and make sure that your crops cost less carbon footprint, then maybe you want to plant a couple of trees as well, because then they will naturally sequestrate and they will go for longer term. So it's more a matter of land use, how to maximize the land use, both from a monetary return perspective, but also for a carbon footprint perspective, that you can use self-balance.
And also like regenerative farming, what they say, instead of stubble burning, if you keep the stubble thin and no-till, zero-till, regenerative farming, all these practices, the less you intervene, the less carbon emissions there will be. And so there is always scope for improvement. Same with irrigation. Yes. Like the alternative wetting and drying. So it doesn't mean that if you're growing, everything has been fixed, there is no area for improvement. There is always area for improvement because, there are ways to kind of see how you can increase the value of the land. Like you said, you can, if you have sugarcane growing, let's say trees around the field, would probably help you sequester some more.
Understand. So, your software can predict what type of plant is useful for sequestering more carbon dioxide, because we know in the sea, algae sequester more than 90% of carbon dioxide. So, if we are focusing to the large tree, the carbon dioxide sequestration is very less in comparison to the algae which grow in sea. So, is your tool predict what type of plant we need to focus to sequester more carbon dioxide?
So we could. This is not the functionality we have today yet, but you definitely could. Remember that we're limited because of the modeling that we're doing for growth, so we're limited to trees. We're currently on 180 species only. It's quite large already, and we are planning to extend to 500. But yeah, we can definitely could, because we know the location, we know what prediction we could do, so we could definitely reverse it and propose not only which tree is the most suitable, but also which tree has the biggest potential over a certain time scale. Because of course it will depend also of the trees. Some trees will maximize their sequestration after a few years, some after decades, right? But yeah, that's definitely, it's not the functionality we have today, but it's definitely something we can do.
But it's not how it works as well. It's not about carbon sequestration only. The thing is, you can have, let's say you sequester 10 tons of carbon, right? And that doesn't mean you have double the money than someone who sequesters 5 tons of carbon, because it's a point-based system. You have to also prove that you have increased biodiversity. So biodiversity gets a big point for uptick for if you can include it. So you can have 10 carbon credits, but priced at $20 per credit, and he can have 5 carbon credits priced at $50 per credit, because he can demonstrate that what he planted increases the biodiversity from his plot of land, what increases the soil quality because of addition of organic matter, increasing the organic matter content of the soil. So these are point-based systems where many different factors are considered before you are assigned a credit and the price of that credit. So this is how it works. It's not just about how much CO2 has been sequestered. And this is a mistake most people are doing nowadays. Because if you look at fields, when you travel from Haryana, Punjab, what they are doing, they are creating agroforestry-based system, but they are just planting only eucalyptus or poplar or these fast-growing trees to harvest as much carbon as sequester as much carbon as they can. But I'm sure this reduces biodiversity, and as a result, these carbon credits are not very premium carbon credits. They're not highly priced. A highly priced credit has to take into account many different factors, ecological factors, and this is how it works.
Thank you.
Just a small query based on what you just stated. You said that in Haryana, people, they are mainly planting eucalyptus or poplar trees. Since I'm from Haryana, yes, you are very well correct. But are you through some means sending the information to the people or guiding them regarding which trees to be planted through any government bodies or some state bodies, so that you can suggest to the people there that what kind of trees need to be planted so that they'll be able to get more benefit as well as the benefit for their.
We would love to do that, and that's why we are looking for funding, investment. We are looking to raise $8 million. we need $8 million to release those platforms over 3 years.
I think it's
get that funding, yes.
This is not our job. We're providing a tool, right? The idea is to essentially provide the tooling for people who are able to make this consulting and to take those decisions to be more informed. We're providing the tool for building up intelligence. Of course, we have also a consulting company, and we could do with it, because I will never stop Dr. Basu, senior, to do consulting. He's so passionate with agriculture, so he's using our tool to consult farmers and stuff like that.
But someone has to come to us. We cannot.
But that's not our goal as a company. Our goal as a company is
need to have this information, then only they will planting the alternate trees.
Well, if you know people in government or people in industry who are willing to invest, please let us know.
And use our tool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. It was absolutely interesting presentation, unraveling insights about global market on carbon credits, and then how AI intervention enables uniting of crop intelligence and carbon measurements. All in all, a very enriching and insightful presentation bringing forth a new perspective about integrating crops, soil, carbon credits, and sustainability with AI. I hope and envisage that your crop locator will be a crop protector also, so that we can save some really important extinct, which are going to be extinct crops also. Right. On that note, I extend my thanks again to both of you for a very, very wonderful presentation. With this, I would now like to request Dr. Deepak Ganjawala sir and Dr. Sushmita ma'am to please felicitate our esteemed guests. May I request Dr. Basu and Dr. Sebastien to please come forward. I request all the faculty members to please join.
Last part of mine is remaining.
Yeah, I request Professor Sushmita Shukla ma'am to please present her vote of thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Shruti. I'm already there. So it was quite a long time, right? So we were expecting that we'll be completing within 1 hour, but it was so no, not sorry. So it was so interesting that we kept on asking you the questions and all. So really, it was very nice. So, good afternoon once again, all of you. It's my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for today's insightful guest lectures on advancing agroecological intelligence data-driven insights for crop suitability and carbon assessment. We learned many things today. On behalf of our Honorable Founder President Sir, Honorable Chancellor Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Dean FBB, and our Director AIB, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Shravani Basu. Thank you for your enriching talk and your deep insight into integrating the data-driven approaches in sustainable agriculture. We came to know many things, as I've said. And Dr. Sebastien, Director in Data Science and AI, has already been spoken and told by other the people who were on the dais, right, our center head, and Ms. Shruti also talked about both of you, so I won't go in detail about it. But the way you have explained about all the different models which you have made, say your crop locator, then sync, evaluated, and 3 more things are really remarkable. Many more things we are expecting it will come towards us, and especially the carbon assessment part. It's really great work. We should be aware means from now onwards, so that we can earn also. The farmers will be benefited out of it at least. I also extend gratitude to Professor Dr. V. Pooja, Director AUP, for her constant support, and she also came out, but knowingly that they are also busy in some kind of project formation and they are sending it by today's deadline, so they are busy, so they are coming and going. So thanks to her. I also extend gratitude to Professor Deepak Ganjewala, Head Center for Plant and Environment Biotechnology. In the center, I also belong for the same center, for his insightful address and initiated the speech today. A special word of appreciation to Dr. Shruti Khanna, who is always there. Whenever I say that, Shruti, you have to be with me, she is the one who is there ready with me. Thanks for the proceedings as MC, which you have worked very wonderfully. I thank all faculty members, research scholars, students and staff for your active participation, who are all there, sitting there. I hope you have got to understand at least regarding the agri biotech and how we can correlate with AI. My special thanks to my student volunteers, Miss Purva, Isha, Kushi, Manav, Sejil, and Kunj. You can see they are standing behind, and some of the other way they are coming, they are asking, and they are the one who are there. She is also there. My special thanks to them. Finally, my heartfelt thanks to organizing team for their seamless coordination efforts behind the scenes. Sincere thanks to media, administration, and security for providing all supports. I should not miss Dr. Kirti, Dr. Madhumita ma'am, Dr. Arnav, Dr. Manish, Dr. Praveen, Dr. Manoranjan. I think I have named everybody. So they are also there. So with some word I will go before wind up. So agroecology powered by AI is not the replacement of nature, it's the respectful partnership she has been waiting for. And we are very much thankful that you both are there who brought this particular partnership with our nature and AI. Right? So in Hindi, I hope you will translate to Dr. Sebastien. मिट्टी बोले मेरे परतों में सूटेबिलिटी की सच्ची पहचान डेटा कहे मैं इंसाइट से कर दूं हर फसल का सही निदान प्रकृति गाय कार्बन का हिसाब ही बचाएगा आने वाला कल एग्रो इंटेलिजेंस मुस्कुराए यही विज्ञान भविष्य की खेती का असली हल With this, once again, thank you all for making this event a great success. Thank you. So, all faculty members, I would request to come over here for an high tea. Volunteers will guide them. So, thank you, students. Thank you all. And if any questions, you can come and you can already, they have shared their email ID, you can write to them. Thank you so much. Our volunteers want to have pictures with our speakers, so again, we would like to have them.